Hi there, Lisa Oliver, author here. How are you doing today? This is a bit of a continuation from the video I did last week when we talked about the different ways you could overcome your blank page. And this week I was going to talk about writer's block, but there was a couple of problems with that. Firstly, I don't actually believe in it. And secondly, I think what a lot of authors are struggling with at the moment isn't so much the writer's block, it's more they're thinking about quitting entirely. So here's my little take on that today. Firstly, sorry, I'm fiddling with this, you'll notice, and yeah, it's because my neighbour decided to mow his lawn just when I decided to do a video. But it's okay, because my neighbour's allowed to do whatever he likes on his own property. And it's been 6 weeks now that I haven't had a cigarette, so I'm fiddling with this and it's distracting. I'm sorry, but I'm getting there. I'm doing it. So anyway, on to writer's block. For fiction writers, when you're writing a story, it's like you're baking a cake, or you're following a recipe, you're writing a song, you're doing something that has flow, and you can feel it. When you go back and read your work, you can see it, you can see the weave. It's like plaiting little bits of things together. For me, I'm taking the lifestyles of two people, or two or more, and I am plaiting them together so that they form a romance, because that's what I write. But it same applies to people who write science fiction, and they take different elements of a plot and they weave them together to create a world. A detective writing agency or genre, people who write in the detective genre do the same thing. They throw out tiny little clues, little bits that all eventually meld together to create the perfect picture. And in the case of the detective things, hopefully a perfect solution. When you get writer's block, it means that somewhere in all of your weave, in your plaiting, in your strategizing or whatever else, you've hit a snag. You've put in a knot. It might have been in the previous chapter, it might have been 3 or 4 chapters ago, but somewhere you put in a snag. For me, it means that I've made my characters do something that they wouldn't have done, said something they wouldn't have said, whatever, and I went pushing ahead on my agenda, and I was totally disregarding the flow. And the only way to get past that, or the only way I've found in my experience to get past that, is to go back to the beginning of my book, start reading it from the beginning, watch for that flow, for that story, for the ebbs, the highs, the lows, the in-betweens, until I come to the snag, and you can feel it. It's like running your hand across a brilliant piece of sanded wood and finding a splinter. That point, that splinter, that's where you've got to take your book, start selecting from there to the end of what you've written, and delete it. Because you find if you do that, if you get rid of that knot, that splinter, that jarring piece that doesn't belong, go back to that point, take your characters in a different direction, your words will flow again. It really genuinely does work. But what I wanted to talk about more, because that is, you know, I need to make that perfectly clear. That was my opinion. That has worked for me 3 times in 80 odd books, which is how often I've had to do it. One time I had to delete 2 chapters, another time I had to delete 5. It doesn't matter what you do with those chapters. One author friend of mine puts them up on her blog as, you know, unused chapters, and readers love them. Whatever you do with it, it doesn't matter. But that's how I deal with writer's block if I happen to have it. What is harder to deal with, particularly with the pandemic, is what if you actually feel like quitting? Been there, done that. It's a really hard thing for especially full-time authors to do, but even newbie authors who might be partway through their book, their first ever book, and they get an attack of, I've had enough. And you know what? In the current atmosphere that we've been living in, 2 years now with the pandemic, 2 years for some people of not being able to see their family, 2 years of having to wear masks, not being able to get a hug. I don't know how the pandemic has impacted you personally, but I know it doesn't matter where you live in the world, it has impacted the way you live. I mean, for goodness sake, I live in New Zealand. Population 5 million. You know, whoop-de-doo. We're such a tiny country. Yet I went in today and got my booster shot, my third shot of the Pfizer vaccine, because Omicron has now hit us hard and it's becoming dangerous for us here too. For writers, it's not only the pandemic. I mean, actually, in a lot of ways, we always worked from home, so that wasn't the change. But there's other changes. Conferences and things that writers like to go to, a lot of those got banned. There's the increase in piracy, which is affecting sales for a lot of writers. I know personally, in the last 2 years, I have had readers pass away. I've had readers take their lives because of the pandemic. And when you're sitting there on your own and every time you hear the news, it's bad, you know, you wonder why you do what you do. You wonder what the point of it is. And you seriously think about quitting. I'm here to tell you, don't quit. I'm here to tell you, don't quit. Because now more than ever, people need your stories. They need things that make them laugh. They need stories to make them think. They need fiction to take them away from the fucking shit show that our lives have become. Okay? So I don't want you to quit. If you're sitting there today and you're thinking, I can't do this anymore, write another word, and then another word, and then another word, and then another word until you've finished your book. Please, write it. Write it with the view of making someone smile. Write it with the view of taking your reader away from the real world for a little while, because God knows we really need that right now. So whoever you are, wherever you are, don't quit. Quit this. By the way, electronic. Quit cigarettes. Quit soda. Quit alcohol. Quit being an asshole. But don't quit writing, okay? Don't quit writing, because the world needs creativity now more than ever before, as we settle into our new normal of mask wearing, elbow bumps, not being able to hug our loved ones. We need to smile. We need to be entertained. We need to be fascinated more than ever. So if you're a writer having a case of the doldrums, PM me, DM me. Fuck, my contact details are all over the place. You want somebody to talk to, I'll talk to you. But don't quit, okay? Don't let writer's block get you. Don't get freaked out by the empty page. Pour that creativity onto the page and share it so that we've all got something to smile about. And it's probably not a good look that I'm really annoyed with my neighbour right now, but you know what? He's doing what he's allowed to do. And I just need you to know that I am here for you, that I care about you. And please, please don't give up. Oh, and by the way, if you've got a new release, how about you pop it in the comments below? I haven't got a very big audience yet, but it's growing, so who knows who might see it. And while we're on the subtopic, my good friend JP Sale and I, we've got our book. I think it's going up on pre-order on Amazon today. So if you're into tentacles, then check out the book Alexi by JP Sale and Lisa Oliver. It should be on Amazon today. Hug the ones you love, my friends. Do not quit. I'll catch up with you soon. Love you, bye.